everyone, welcome to Filmme Talk, a podcast where two gals talk film, television, and everything in between the reels. I'm your host, Ileana Melendez, head of marketing and a critic here at FullCircleCinema.com, and I'm joined here today by my lovely co-host, as always, Josie Melendez. How you doing?
I'm good, ready to talk Marvel.
We're back to Marvel, y'all. Yeah. This has basically become a Disney Plus stan account at this point.
Yeah.
So we're going to talk Marvel again. The Falcon and the Winter Soldier just came out, and we have thoughts, I'm sure as many of you have, though it's been kind of overshadowed this weekend by the Snyder Cut, which is like, it happens, it's fine, that's a whole other thing. But we're going to focus on Marvel on this little round of film talk. Maybe we'll do a little something on the Snyder Cut on the side, perhaps. But yeah, we just wanted to quickly, before we dive into the first episode of The Falcon and the Winter Soldier, which was actually relatively meatier episode. That was actually like 42 minutes long, which shocked me because the expectations for the runtime here have just gone down the hill. They've gone down the gutter.
Yeah. I saw 42 minutes and I was like, oh, these end credits are getting too out of hand.
And no post-credit scene, just so y'all know. It's fine. Like, don't get your panties in a twist. It's just the 42 minutes, but it's fine. But we kind of want to situate ourselves in the Marvel Cinematic Universe because we just got off the WandaVision train. The era has concluded. People have thoughts. A lot of people didn't really enjoy how it concluded. I think it was all a matter of expectations. Expectations was what really, not ruined, but tampered with the perception of WandaVision's finale. And, from the part of the fandom, and also from the part of the cast, because, a lot of different elements, but all in all, we would like to share our brief thoughts on the WandaVision finale and how that then leads us into this next little phase, next little era of Marvel television. So, yeah, I would just like to say our first little intro review of the first 3 episodes and the theories we had. Yes, some of them just went out the window, but we got quite a few. We were pretty spot on. I'm just gonna say, honestly, a little pat on the back. I was just like, oh yeah, the whole reason this is probably based on sitcoms is because that's how what she grew up with, and that's usually how people that have English as a second language, usually we learn by watching American television. So that was the case. So I'm just like, it was still heartbreaking. It was
very heartbreaking.
Yeah, it was very emotional. I don't think anyone can deny that it wasn't an emotional roller coaster, especially in WandaVision's last 2 to 3 episodes. Things got pretty intimate with Wanda's character, which is not something that we've really seen with any character in the Marvel Cinematic Universe to this degree. Obviously, we've gotten pretty intimate with Tony Stark's character and all that, but in comparison, this felt a lot more, like I said, intimate. I can't think of another word at the moment, but it felt just like we were just there, sitting there with Wanda, with Vision, going through the motions of her grief and her trauma, and it's just, I thought it was really interesting to explore. The finale, the action sequences did feel kind of rushed because, again, it's just one of those things that suffered from the runtime, and the pacing was just a little bit touch and go, but overall, I really like how we concluded focused on Wanda. So that's pretty much what I'll say on that.
Yeah, especially because, again, WandaVision is going to lead us into Falcon and the Winter Soldier, so we have to take into consideration how all of these things are going to affect the future of Falcon and the Winter Soldier, as well as Loki, because all of this is going to connect, and then Falcon and the Winter Soldier and Loki are closer to Far From Home. Yes?
That one.
These home movies. Guys. But yeah, at least what I want to say about WandaVision is that I liked it. I do understand the maybe not entirely disappointment, but the way some people feel towards the final episode, because it did leave a lot to be desired, which I think we might say it was on purpose, but either way, I mean, you had such a perfect runtime from beginning to end for the season. So I think they managed to ground it in a way that still felt like Marvel, but it also still felt like something new entirely, the way they were taking us along the ride, which with Falcon and the Winter Soldier, the difference here is going to be that when you're talking about this TV show and the episodes, it's going to be way more straightforward than what WandaVision was.
100%. Yeah, WandaVision was definitely one of those things where you just went along for the ride and you didn't know what to expect, and it definitely kept us on our toes. And I really appreciate the momentum that it granted with that mysteries. None of us can deny that we were itching to see every next episode as soon as that week's episode ended. Like it really kept us on the edge of our seats. But yeah, some decisions that they made that I'm not going to get into were just, they didn't seem all that useful in the end. But once again, it was still,
it felt really it definitely felt like when you have a lot of creative liberty and then someone realizes that something is going really well and then they get involved and give their input and you have to take that input. That's how it felt. Because for most of it felt like something entirely new, something entirely different, and then it went back to the I want to avoid the word generic. I'm basic. No, yeah, because I wanted I went back to the well, because I was going to say basic formula.
This is related to the Falcon and the Winter Soldier. This is related.
Yes.
There's a point.
Whatever, I'm going to say it. It went back to the generic and basic formula that Marvel tends to have with its movies. So that's how it felt when you were going to WandaVision.
It just was going so well and so boldly, and then it got too scared to go too far. And it just felt like the Marvel formula has worked really well, but in this television setting where they can afford to be more experimental with their decisions and their creativity, it's just the Marvel formula here just feels like a crutch. And it's just, they didn't really take full advantage of the liberty that they had with this platform, this television platform, to experiment and explore different styles, different themes, different topics with their stories, which is usually what they can't really take a risk on with these big budget films for Marvel. So it was a little disappointing that they got scared there. However, with the Falcon and the Winter Soldier being set a little bit further away
which
from
is
the
why
there's a point. We're getting to the point.
Which is why my last words on WandaVision will be that I think this is what we needed during this pandemic. This is what we needed to watch. It was definitely a therapeutic show to watch, and I love the fact that it was run by women, and you can tell. And
it just felt homey.
I'm gonna miss that.
It felt really homey. It's just it was like if a TV show were a comfort food, like this is mac and cheese. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
So
going into Falcon and the Winter Soldier, that feels more like
this is a grilled cheese that's like on sourdough bread. And with like a Gouda, it's just like a little bit more gourmet, but it's not something that you go for every single time. It's like a little, it's, we're getting back into the Marvel action. It's a little bit more Marvel formula here. Yeah. But, it
was like the Marvel formula, but turn it up to maximum.
Yeah, it was just like, you know what? Marvel formula, let's just add a little more. Let's just, dabble in that a little bit. And it's almost, I think
they're definitely trying to emulate the style of
the Winter Soldier. There's just
Captain America Winter Soldier.
Yeah, Captain America Winter Soldier is peak MCU. I'm sorry. Whoever wants to argue with me, go ahead. You're probably right, but I'm also right. That was the one time the Russo brothers really just I'm sorry. No. Captain America and the Winter Soldier made me like Captain America as a character. And I didn't like Captain America. And here we are, simping. So they did something, and they're trying to emulate that again, that whole, like, that espionage thriller type, but at the same time, at least in this introductory episode, which really, really feels like an intro episode in every way, shape, or form. Like, you know, we have Sam Wilson, we dive straight into, you know, a classic Marvel action scene. Big scale, big fights, you know, very cool, very fun. I liked it. I really enjoyed it. It's the closest I felt to that Marvel theater experience in like almost 2 years.
Yeah, I did want to say I really enjoyed the camera work in that scene because it added that realistic view that they like to add to their action. Especially, I think the first time I ever noticed it was in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 1. And that part when they're, like, defending the planet, and, like, you see there's a camera attached to one of the ships, and it looks like they're really, like, up there fighting. And I'm like, wait a second, I like this. I like this style.
It's because fun, because you know it's absurd.
We know it's not real, but you add that element, and it's like, okay, thank you for helping me immerse myself into this world.
Yeah, I think that style, that tool that they use in the Marvel Cinematic Universe is what also helps it be so fun and so immersive, where you sit down in that movie theater, you know, with this series, you sit down on that couch or whatever you're watching it on, and you are in there with those heroes. And it's something that Marvel has kind of almost perfected to a certain point with this formula. However, of course, with all formulas, if you overuse it and you don't change it up a little bit, it's going to get old. And I am very hopeful for the Falcon and the Winter Soldier, because we do get that action. We do get, like, that realistic, quote unquote realistic, sort of immersion with superheroes, which is for something that we obviously know is not real in any way, shape, or form. But we also get to see Sam Wilson's background, his family, where he's from. Bucky Barnes is also getting some background, immediately diving into Bucky Barnes having a nightmare scene as the Winter Soldier. So it was fun. I think
it was.
I like that there's space to finally explore these characters that have barely been given more than 2 lines per movie that they've been in. So I'm happy about that. It does seem a little formulaic at times, but I think they definitely set up the tension and the mystery with quite a few things. I thought this was going to be just one storyline and one villain. I thought it was just going to be super Zemo, as they've been advertising. But there's quite a few little bits of conflict happening about the same time. And it gave me, and these, I'm not saying that it's this, because that's creme de la creme, but it gave me slight, they're trying to be Daredevil vibes. And that's a big statement. That's how I felt. Like, they're trying to get that whole, we want to reel you into this mystery, and we're going to have things happening all over, and but it's going to work. Like, it's going to work together. So I enjoyed that.
Yeah. I think for me was the fact that it definitely felt like a lot of exposition for a first episode, which is overwhelming. But I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt, because I think that what we're going to get with Falcon and the Winter Soldier for this season is a lot of build-up. And possibly every episode should be better than the previous one. Possibly. That is how it should be, if they do it right.
So far, so good. I think, I'm not entirely sure. I do think that this is going to have a shorter episode run than WandaVision.
Yes.
I think they're supposed to have like 6 episodes.
I think we have 5 more weeks, yeah.
Okay, so given that, I do understand, like, how overwhelming it felt in the intro, but I understand why they had to, like, kind of dive really into all of this exposition for all these little plot points that we're going to be exploring throughout the series. So I respect that. It could have been done a little better, of course. You know, you can nitpick things all day. But it definitely didn't feel out of place. It didn't feel super awkward. It didn't feel like, okay, you can tell they're trying to, you know, shoehorn this in. Everything definitely had like, it felt like a puzzle piece that was just waiting to be connected to the next episode. And I like that. I think we're definitely gonna explore the Marvel like political thriller, like spy thriller genre again, and I'm really happy about that.
Yeah, like
I love
Mission
that.
Impossible.
Give me Mission
Tom
Impossible.
Clancy, Jack Reacher.
Yeah, I'm here for that. Not for the military propaganda, but you know.
No, we don't mess with military propaganda.
As the kids say, son otro 20. So.
See, I'm just here. I hope they don't do anything to Torres. I hope Torres survives because.
I think he's a bad guy. I'm sorry.
No.
He's
so wholesome. I want to protect him.
I know, but like my immediate thought was just like, he's a spy. He's Hydra. I'm super suspicious of any new character in like the thriller genre. I'm sorry. I'm sure he's fine. So
You're probably right, and I'm gonna be like,
see, people get mad at me because I'm probably right. So he's either a bad guy, going to be a bad guy, or he's gonna die because he's too wholesome. I'm sorry.
Oh, leave Torres alone. Justice for Torres.
Justice for Torres, and nothing's happened yet. I'm just here spitballing. I'm out here just with like.
Is that like
of wild speculation?
I was watching Falcon and the Winter Soldier, and I just started like I met Torres, and immediately I was like, oh no, because at least like a whole nother concept. But in Cherry, there's one Latino character that is friends with Tom Holland's character, and they kill him. Sorry, spoilers. Like. Ooh. You should know. Anyways, they kill him.
Wow,
and I was just sitting there.
Everyone, huh?
Yes, and just like. I was sitting there like, you just murdered the only Latino character in this film. And he was such a wholesome person. And then you give me Torres. I'm like, please, I've been hurt before. Don't kill Torres.
I've been hurt before. I know what this is. I know the signs. I mean, yeah, I vibe with him. I think he's absolutely wholesome. But I don't know. You just know, especially with Marvel, like, if you really like this character, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry, hun.
If you're seeing this, I hope you survive.
I think Torres will survive quite a bit. If he dies, he's definitely not going to die next episode. Like, they're gonna give him some time.
Okay, I don't mind seeing him as a villain, but I don't think it'll go that far. Because, again, he's so wholesome. That would be such a 180. Unless he's like a very good actor.
Speculation hat. He may not be the outright villain, but he might be like an inadvertent tool for the villain. That's probably what's going to happen. Spoiler alert, she says.
Yeah, at most in that first episode, I think he was just a tool for us to find out about the other super soldier.
The Flag Smashers. I'm gonna ignore that for the sake of it.
Yeah.
But I didn't expect them to go back to the whole super soldier thing.
Mm-hmm.
That I found kind of surprising, even though it is, at the same time, kind of a predictable plot point to follow.
Yeah, I think it just makes sense since they've been, at least in the MCU, they've been trying to recreate the super soldiers, try saying that very quickly, super soldier serum. They've been trying to perfect that and use it again for the longest time in the MCU. So to finally see it pay off, it's like, okay, this wasn't just a plot on the side.
Yeah, especially after what happened in Civil War, where we thought that the whole point was, oh crap, there's a whole team of super soldiers, and they killed them all. So I thought that was like, absolutely put to bed. But apparently not. So we'll see what role Zemo has to play in all of this, which...
Yeah.
Once again, call me a Captain America, Winter Soldier, and Civil War stan. I think Zemo's one of the most interesting MCU villains.
Yeah. He accomplished so much more than anyone else could.
He accomplished so much more just with gossip. He is the...
El bochinche.
This is literally
the true villain of Marvel.
He's literally
Bochinche.
just a bochinche. The cheese matron. That's
just
all
imagined-
he did. He toppled the
I just
Avengers
imagine
down with
Zemo.
the freaking gossip. I mean, obviously it's dramatic, but you know.
I just imagined him sitting at a window como una vieja chismosa, like, tomando su cafecito.
Yeah. Zemo's literally, oh my god, what was that movie? Zemo's Regina George. You can't tell me otherwise. I'm not sorry. So yeah, he's a great MCU villain, so I'm really happy to have him back. I'm very excited to see how they introduce him because I really, usually you think that we're going to see a glimpse at the end teasing the main villain of the series, which in this point was a U.S. agent. So I believe it. A white man taking away a black man's shield. That's the real villain here.
He's either... So when I saw him, I was immediately like, well, other than this being BS, he's either some, like, not a main villain, but he's some antagonistic force, of course. And he could also be kind of, like, trying to remember the name. Iron Man 3.
Oh my god, yeah, Mandarin.
The
Not Mandarin.
Kind of like a Mandarin figure where it's like, and then he's like, just a loser.
Yeah, he's just a pawn. He's just probably a loser, but
yeah.
I think it would be really out there to be like, oh, he's a Hydra. Like that would just be kind of old. I don't think that's what it is.
Unless they want to do that storyline, but they already kind of paid it off in Endgame. But either way, the good thing about this show that they're doing, which is very important for shows to do whenever they have otherworldly elements, is that you do have a supernatural villain or an otherworldly villain, but you also have day-to-day antagonistic forces. Like, my favorite example is Stranger Things, because you do have the upside down elements, but then you also have antagonistic forces in the world. Like, for the kids, it was the bullies, but they also had to deal with the Demogorgon. So you have those real world elements, and then you have those otherworldly elements. So here, it's of course day-to-day society, like trying to get a loan even though you didn't have income for 5 years because you did not exist. Like, that is not their fault.
That's really interesting. I really like how that we're exploring what day-to-day life and like normal civilian life is like, existing in a universe where superheroes exist, where half of all life in the universe just ceased to exist for 5 years, and all of a sudden they come back, and all the implications that has, like even logistically, socially, economically. It's really interesting to see how that's gonna work out, and I really like that we're exploring the world post blip without just kind of just brushing over the impact of Infinity War and Endgame. Like, the reach those movies had, the impact they had, and the power that they had still reverberates into the rest of the MCU's storylines. And I think that also just gives those films so much more value, per se, as stories. And it doesn't feel like they're just copping out, which is sometimes what used to happen with Marvel, where you had this huge, global event, world-ending events that just kind of ended and got wrapped up in a bow and we're done. It's not that. There are consequences here, which we saw, I think, perhaps not for the very first time, but from what I remember, we first really explored the consequences of these battles, aside from Sokovia and Civil War. We really got to see that in Spider-Man Homecoming with Vulture as a character. So I think continuing that thought process with these stories, I think it's gonna be really fun to explore and give space to all of these characters that have been in the MCU for years. Like, we've had Falcon and the Winter Soldier in the MCU since 2014, and now's the time that they're getting their spotlight 7 years later. So yeah, my expectations are at a reasonable level. I'm not
They're
saying
healthy.
they're healthy. I'm not saying Mephisto's here. I'm not saying the X-Men are here. I already saw like some stupid headline saying, how could the X-Men be introduced here? And like, let it die. I'm so sorry.
No, I think it's very straightforward. The show is not going to be like WandaVision, where we were trying to figure out things every second, because that's what WandaVision wanted us to do. Here is just present, like, what you see is what you get.
The gag would be actually shocking us with something. That would be the plot twist.
Also, there's the element. Yeah, there's also the element of the fact that Kevin Feige said that most of these shows are not going to have anything that could throw the timeline out of the loop, because the MCU is the MCU. So if anything were to happen in these shows, they will connect to the MCU, but it won't be on a grand scale because there are people that don't watch the shows. So you don't want to have anything too substantial and necessary that if you jump into the new phase of films that people won't get it.
That's fair. I get that. Though, kind of on that note, then WandaVision, the end of WandaVision, when people see Wanda Maximoff again in the movies and they haven't seen WandaVision, it's going to be wild. Like, when did she get this suit?
Honestly, yeah, that's what I liked, because even though he did say that, I do like that WandaVision. Impact. Yeah, that WandaVision does have impact. I do like that. Because before Marvel TV shows, I mean, I haven't seen them. So, like, the old ones.
I'm sorry.
Yeah. So I haven't seen those shows. I just watched the films. I just watched the films and I was okay. But now, like, for example, I don't want to finish Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., but now I want to see the episode in San Juan because I forgot there was one, and I want to see Puerto Rico and Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Okay.
Also, I want to find out the Darkhold.
Oh, that's true.
I want to find out more about the Darkhold, and I want to learn more about that. But essentially, I think at most I just need to revisit Doctor Strange and I'll be good.
This is true for most Marvel movies in my case. I've seen the entirety of the MCU. But most of the MCU that I've seen, I've only seen once, and that was in the movie theater. And it lives in my mind rent-free, so I don't have to rewatch a lot of it. I remember. It's recorded here. When I should have important, pertinent information to deal with life, I have Marvel movies in here. So I've only ever seen Doctor Strange once. And that was...
Me too. And it was in the movie theater when it came out.
I saw that baby in IMAX 3D, and I regret nothing. It was great.
I will say, oh my god, now we're jumping from Falcon and Winter Soldier to WandaVision, but either way, all of it connects.
Yeah, so all of it connects. Because, not much happened in Falcon and Winter Soldier, I'm sorry to say.
Yeah, but that thing that bothers me is that Doctor Strange did not appear in WandaVision. I think that's the only thing that really bothered me. Because they're supposed to connect, so you would think he would have shown up. But at the same time, I'm glad that it didn't happen, which I'm contradicting myself, but when you think about it...
It would have taken away from Wanda's thunder.
Exactly. It was all about Wanda. It was all about, like, especially Agatha as a villain. I like... Because it's... Listen, she is serving a higher power, but I like that we did not see it because it would have taken away from her as well as a villain.
Yeah. I think that's also kind of part of why our expectations were so high for these certain introductions for these different characters. And I respect the decision to not include them, though we felt that they were heavily teased. Had they done that, it kind of would have defeated the purpose of WandaVision, in a sense.
I think, we'll see more of it. Here's the thing. I think these things were teased, but they were not meant to be shown now. We will probably see all the things that were teased, whether it's Nightmare, Mephisto, whatever. I mean, Nightmare has been mentioned so many times when it comes to Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness. So most likely we will just see those in that movie, and you'll probably get what you're looking for in that movie. But right now, it's all about Wanda.
Yeah, that's like number one. Number two, the timeline for the release dates for this content, these series and these films were completely thrown out of whack because of the pandemic. Like, we were supposed to get Multiverse of Madness like a few months after WandaVision. So it was supposed to like really pretty quickly lead into that and, give us hype for that. So now we have to wait a year because Doctor Strange comes out in March of next year, and I think it concludes production in April right now, because they were filming in London, and we know Elizabeth Olsen's in it. She was there in London filming, and she's back.
Yeah, she is in it. I really do hope. I know that they're hiding it very well, but I do hope we do get a little bit of Agatha Harkness and Multiverse of Madness, because we know where she is.
I think she's such an interesting force of magic that's going to affect the MCU in the future and all the characters related to her. But
I think my last words on WandaVision, I promise, are, well, no promises. That's something I've been wanting to get off my chest for a while, is that I think I'm done letting fanboys on the internet influence my thoughts on Marvel TV shows and theories. And I need more women to break these down, because the fact of the matter is that we were allowing ourselves to be influenced by these theories made by these fanboys, that basically all of this was surrounding all these greater things, and they could have been. I mean, they were referenced and hinted at.
Yeah, we can't deny that. They were heavily teased. They were heavily referenced.
But when you think about it, we got a show about these two badass women, and that's what was presented. That's what we got. It unfolded the way it was supposed to be. All the payoffs perfectly aligned with the setups. We got what we were supposed to get. Disappointment is like your own expectations problems. So I think that's just one thing I wanted to say. We got what we were supposed to, and it's badass women doing badass women things.
Like this series is gonna age really well. Like once we revisit it, I'm gonna revisit it right before Multiverse of Madness comes out, because that feels like chronologically speaking, with this story, it feels like the right thing to do. And I feel like it's gonna age a lot better without that huge social media influence in general, because everybody was talking about this for 2 months. Every single Friday, this was trending. It was a whole thing, and I feel like without that influence, I personally think that it's going to age better. It's going to age well, and I'm going to be able to enjoy it more, because not only will I have all the episodes to be able to binge continuously without having to wait in between, I'm going to be able to just be more focused on what was presented. And I'm sure when we rewatch it from here on a year later, we're going to notice a lot of things that we missed, because our brains were so clouded by those expectations and theories.
Yeah. And also, I think that's what's going to happen with Falcon and the Winter Soldier, the same way that happened with WandaVision. You're going to find so many more things once you revisit the episodes. I'm going to rewatch episode 1 in a few hours.
And it's not just to see Bucky Barnes shirtless.
I mean, we have Anthony Mackie, we have Sebastian Stan, my birthday brother, hey, my birthday twin. Gotta throw that out because it's a flex. But we have these wonderful men giving their all. I mean, Anthony Mackie, it's so wonderful to see him doing something beyond standing on Steve Rogers' left.
Truly, I think Sam Wilson as a character and Anthony Mackie as an actor playing him is just so much more dynamic here, and I'm so freaking excited to get into his wit, into his humor, into his hope, because he is such a hopeful person when he's like the last person that should have hope. Like, he has a lot of reason to just not believe in the world anymore. He didn't
which is great.
Years.
The government and now he's gonna be able to help Bucky come back into himself the way that he did for Steve.
Exactly.
And it's also just very fun to be able to be in Bucky's head after everything that he's gone through. I mean, really the saddest part was when he said that the only moment he found peace was in Wakanda. And then it was like, we need you again. And he was like, oh.
Pieces. Homie just wanted his goats. He just wanted his goats and his peace. Okay? He was living his life. He was living his best moment.
He was.
Yeah. I think the exploration. I'm excited for them as characters. My expectations are healthy for the series. I think
especially
it has a strong start, for sure.
Yeah. Especially after seeing Civil War, so many people love the dynamic between Sharon, Bucky, Sam. So being able to see them again, I mean, we got an entire TV show with them.
I
And
think
that's
they
going to
have
be so
such
much
great
fun.
chemistry. I think it's gonna give us buddy cop. It's gonna give us Mission Impossible. The wit's there. The chemistry between the actors is there. I think everything, the pieces are here, and I think they're gonna fall into place. And once again, this first episode, a very strong start. Very strong start to a series that we can definitely expect to have a lot of story packed into it. Not necessarily complicated story. I'm not saying it's going to be like, ooh, plot twist here and there. But we're going to get a lot of exposition, not only into these characters, but the Marvel Cinematic, the world post-blip as a whole. I think we're going to get to see a lot of that we haven't seen yet in previous films post-blip, like Far Away From Home and WandaVision. So, yeah.
If you can get anything from this review, is the keep your expectations at a healthy level. We're warning you from this moment, for
your own good and mental health. Keep your expectations healthy. Okay.
Yeah, this is just a fun time trying to get to know two characters that have been done a little bit dirty in the MCU, and
that's a polite way to say it.
Yeah, it's about time that we find out a little bit more.
I'm very excited, and I think it's definitely a good step in the right direction for Marvel, with their characters and exploring them not only just as superheroes but as human beings. And it just gives them so much more depth. It just enriches the story so much more and makes you so much more involved with these characters and with these stories. So I'm very happy with what Marvel is doing in general with these series. And once again, I really like that they're taking quote unquote more risks and really, things that for them would be risky, like exploring different filming styles, different cinematography, different themes in their stories. Once again, I think this is going to be really interesting once this concludes and then leads into Loki. Loki's going to be like a completely different series.
Oh yeah, Loki's going to go back to that vibe that we had with WandaVision.
Just nitpicking every detail.
Yeah.
Because it could be
Falcon
wild.
Especially because Loki has hinted in the trailers more into, like, for example, quote unquote, Mephisto. So being able to see that in Loki is going to be very interesting, because it's definitely going to have a lot more Easter eggs than Falcon and the Winter Soldier would have. Again, Falcon and the Winter Soldier is to take you down from the high that you got from WandaVision. Sit back, relax, enjoy the action, and then jump into Loki and nitpick everything.
Casual. We're here, we're just like, we're relaxing, got a little popcorn, a little glass of wine, and we're chilling. It's fun. And then Loki's going to bring us back to that whole bringing out the magnifying glass and, telling ourselves we have healthy expectations while also going, I smell an X-Men. So, yeah, that's going to happen. That's going to be interesting because it's going to come out in June. So this summer, hoo-wee, that's going to be interesting to see. But I really wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised if they continue to tease these characters like Mephisto and all that. Wouldn't be surprised if they don't introduce them entirely, obviously. But I also wouldn't be surprised if there is an Easter egg / connection between Loki and WandaVision, since this is all in the same, it's all in the same realm of like magic, time travel. This is a Loki that never saw Ragnarok. This is a Loki that never had all his character development that we saw throughout the MCU. This is Loki back on square one.
Yeah.
So that's going to be
especially since Loki is going to hint at Nexus beings, which Wanda is a Nexus being, and another one is Kang the Conqueror, right? Is that how you pronounce it?
Yeah. Jean Grey is also a Nexus being, if I'm not mistaken, in one of the realms.
So they're leading us into those characters. I think Loki is definitely going to lead more into that aspect, and just to anyone like all the X-Men apologists out there and everything, look out for Doctor Strange. I think that's really going to give us like we've been getting crumbs. All the people that want the cookie's gonna be in Doctor Strange. I know it.
I'm very excited for Doctor Strange and what else? Honestly, I don't know if it's related, but Eternals is right around the corner once again. I'm so excited. I just think they're neat. I just think they're neat.
You know how I feel about Eternals.
Yeah. The future for Marvel is very bright. So
and then we have Chloe Zhao. Okay, this reaction to Falcon and the Winter Soldier has turned into like a Marvel appreciation video. Yeah. Falcon and the Winter Soldier has great cinematography, and it just makes me excited because also WandaVision had great cinematography, and everyone's saying that The Eternals has the best cinematography and just visuals and directing that has ever been seen in the MCU. So that's high praise.
Dude, they built the sets.
Mm-hmm.
This is like, we're going back to OG film cinema.
Yeah. Especially because Chloe Zhao is so present and so concrete. She takes everything as it is, and she likes being in the moment and filming on location, and those sets. Everything needs to feel real. So this is gonna be a 5-star meal. This is gonna be 5 courses. This is gonna be all like.
This is a healthy expectation. This is Academy Award nominee Chloe Zhao. This is a healthy expectation.
Academy Award winner.
We're manifesting Academy Award winner, Miss Chloe Zhao. We're waiting for you, and I really hope that The Eternals is a huge success and that she helps influence the decisions in hiring directors for the future of the MCU.
Yeah,
I really hope that this
take
us in the right direction.
The best way we can like close this off is just that. Healthy expectations again, but also don't take this too seriously. Just go along for the ride. It's fun. I like that they're having fun with it and they're not taking themselves so seriously anymore because, I mean, you are at a position where you have all these accolades, so you do have to take yourself seriously up to a certain point. But you need to take risks at times because if not, it all just becomes stale and you start losing those people that were there from the beginning because they love the ingenuity and the originality. So I like that these TV shows, because it's a new format, it's Disney Plus, they're trying to build subscribers as well for this platform. So clearly, I think they know what they're doing. I'm going to trust them. I liked the first episode. We clearly recommended it, and I'm excited.
Yeah, for sure. If you were not a super huge fan of WandaVision for whatever reason, and I'm not saying you're wrong, but if you weren't a huge fan of that and you just didn't really watch it because it was just not your cup of tea, and you're really more into the Marvel action, this has a lot of gusto. This definitely takes you back into the thick of it with Marvel action, especially was it Phase 2 or Phase 3? Phase 2 era Marvel, it brings you back a little bit more. So if you're one of those really diehard fans for that particular style and moment and era of Marvel, you're really going to enjoy this. And it's only 6 episodes, and it's every Friday. So there's really no reason why you shouldn't be able to try it.
Yeah.
And it's also good for people who aren't even Marvel fans. I think it's palatable enough for people to just kind of dive in and be like, oh, this is fun. Just as, a standalone series. That's been our discussion. A little all over the place, but everything had purpose.
Everything connects. Remember, everything connects in the MCU.
Everything
We're
connects.
fine. We're fine.
Okay. We're fine. We had a good time. I had my chips. I was hungry. So yeah, where can we find you, Miss Josie?
You can find me at the Josie Marie on Twitter and Letterboxd, and you can find Film Posers at Film Posers basically anywhere.
Love to see it. You can also find me on Twitter and Instagram at Captain Melendez, and you can subscribe to Full Circle Cinema right here on YouTube, and check out our news, check out our reviews, check out all the bits and bobs that we have going on FullCircleCinema.com. You can also find us on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, all that jazz, and enjoy. Please stay tuned. Hopefully, we got some stuff in the works aside from Film Talk, so stay tuned, and I hope you guys have been enjoying this fun little series where two gals just just talk movie and TV and have fun. And it's we're in a safe space. This is full circle.
Exactly.
We're in a safe space. So yeah, I hope y'all have a good one and stay tuned. Bye.
Bye.